Version 4.3 saw the return of two very good 5 stars, and of course the new character CHEVREUSE, and today we're going to be talking about the other of the 5 stars that did release alongside Raiden Shogun, and that is Yoimiya. Now, I've always had a special place in my heart for Yoimiya because I think that Yoimiya is a lot better than people give her credit for, and to be honest, my Yoimiya I truly think is a lot more cracked than most people's Yoimiyas, but I could be wrong. But anyways, today we're going to be going over what you need to do to ascend your Yoimiya from level 1 to level 90, and of course also talk about how you should casually build your Yoimiya. So today, that's what we're doing. That's the build guide. Anyways, before we get into that though, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out. And of course, y'all, I am sponsored by GamerSubs. Use code Tystra for 10% off at gamersubs.gg on your next order. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into today's video. As you can see, we have Yoimiya's information up right now. So first things first, we're going to be talking about how to ascend her. So let's go ahead and look at these really quick. As you can see, we have the Agnetus Agat Silvers, the Agnetus Agat Fragments, Agnetus Agat Chunks, and of course the Agnetus Agat Gemstones. We're going to go ahead and shorten those up to just the last word of each one to make it a little bit easier. But of course, you're going to need 1 of the silvers, 9 of the fragments, 9 of the chunks, and 6 of the gemstones. Now, rule number 1, remember, Hoyoverse loves rules of 3s, and it's always apparent with almost anything that you get from them. So 3 silvers make a fragment, 3 fragments make a chunk, 3 chunks make a gemstone. Now, rule number 2, make sure that you know the bosses that you could farm for this character. Now, because of the fact that these are pyro types of materials, you could fight the Pyro Hypostasis, the Pyro Regispine. You could fight the Baptist can drop them as well, but I don't recommend the Baptist because he could drop a bunch of different ones. And the Emperor of Fire and Iron, which is the new Fire Volcano Turtle, or crab, or not turtle, why did I say turtle? A crab, the Fire Crab that's over in Fontaine right now. So there's that. But I would definitely say your big priority should be the Pyro Hypostasis, because the fact that you get these Smoldering Pearls. You're going to need 46 of these Smoldering Pearls, and they drop from the Pyro Hypostasis, which is perfect because 2 birds, 1 stone. You're getting all of your Pyro element stuff, plus you're getting the Smoldering Pearl. Now, with 46 of these, you could gain as low as 2 per run, up to 3 per run. But I always go with the lower amount just because the fact that, you know, it's not going to be perfect every time. And I would much rather predict something and, you know, get it wrong by, you know, having an actual positive experience than to go above and beyond in my speculation and then, you know, get reamed for it. So you will have to fight the Pyro Hypostasis up to 23 times. 23 times is a lot, especially when you get only 4 encounters every day, but the grind's worth it. That's really all I can say about it. Another grind that's going to take a little while is the Naku Weed. You're going to need 168 of these, and you get them from Inazuma, so be ready for that. There's a lot right next to the Grand Narukami Shrine, just in the surrounding area, so yeah. And then of course you're going to need these Divining Scrolls, the Sealed Scrolls, and the Forbidden Curse Scrolls. Now, as you scroll down here, you can actually see the amount that you're going to need. You're going to need 18 in total of the Divining Scrolls. You're going to need 30 of the Sealed Scrolls and 36 of the Forbidden Curse Scrolls. Now, remember again, rules of 3. 3 Divinings are going to make the Sealed, and 3 of the Sealeds are going to make the Forbidden Curse Scrolls. Now, that's just for regular Ascension. Now, when we're talking about talent priorities, right? We're going to go right down here. As you can see everything that's going to happen at the talent level 10. Now, this is only for 1 single talent, so you have to times everything by 3. Now, for Yoimiya's talents, I would highly focus on normal attacks and your skill. Mainly your normal attack, because of the fact that you're going to be normaling a lot with Yoimiya, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But your talent priority should be normal, then skill, then burst. You don't want to burst too much because I think that burst is going to take away a lot of your damage in general, which is crazy to think because the burst is normally something that would put in a lot of damage. But in the case of Yoimiya, that's not it. But let's go ahead and talk about the talent ascensions. Now, you're gonna need these scrolls here, the teachings of transience. I always mess that up for some reason. Which go into the guides of transient, which go into the philosophies of transient. Sorry, a little tired today. But yes, you're going to need a grand total of 9 of these teachings of transients. You're going to need 63 of the guides to transients and 114 of the philosophies of transients. Now again, 3 teachings make a guide, 3 guides make a philosophy. Rules of 3 every single time. Speaking of rules of 3, the actual enemy material, there we go, that drops called the dividing scroll, which we just talked about a little bit ago. You actually gonna need to grind another 18 more of the dividing scrolls. You're gonna need 66 more of the sealed scrolls and 93 of the forbidden scrolls on top of what you need for your ascensions. So it's gonna be a little bit of a grind, but at least the regular enemies, the overworld enemies, actually respawn every day, so you're good. Another thing you're going to need is the Dragon Lord's Crown, which you get from the Azhdaha fight over in Liyue, and it is an annoying fight, but it's definitely worth it to ascend your Yoimiya to greater heights. Now, Azhdaha, again, is a weekly boss, so you only get to fight him once for his rewards, and you're going to need 18 of these Dragon Lord's Crowns, so it's going to be a little bit of a grind, but in my opinion, for Yoimiya, it's worth it. You know, if there was like the sign from The Simpsons that says do it for her, that'd be Yoimiya to a T. And then of course you're gonna need 3 crowns of insight, pretty standard. Every character needs crowns of insight, so that's pretty normal. And between all the talent ascensions and the regular ascension for your character in general, if you're going to go for triple crowning, it's gonna be around 7.4 million mora. Now then, let's dive into my Yoimiya and how I think you should build your Yoimiya as a casual player. So let's first talk about attributes. So for me, I actually got a very, very good crit rate to crit ratio with 70 to 262. And that's because I have the Thundering Pulse as well, which does help, but I have some decent artifacts and we'll get into that in just a moment. Also, my energy recharge is up there, but with Yoimiya, I don't think that's really like something that you need to focus on. And the reason why I say that is because, again, with energy recharge, you're focusing that to get your burst, and Yoimiya's damage doesn't really come from her burst, in my opinion. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, other people have said the same thing as well. I watch a lot of other people's stuff, and I don't think burst is the way to go. Now, one thing I will say is that Elemental Mastery would probably be the one thing that you want to do instead of Energy Recharge because of how she's going to fit in a lot of different teams. Today, we're going to be showcasing Overload, but in general, I feel like with Melt and all that stuff, the Elemental Mastery would do better, which is probably something that I could have done better with my Yoimiya in general. Now, let's go ahead and talk about weapons. Now, of course, I have the Thundering Pulse, which is her best weapon. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I'm kind of like dealing with allergies at the moment. But Thundering Pulse is her best weapon, increases attack by 20% and grants the Might of the Thunder emblem. At stack levels 1, 2, and 3, the Thundering emblem increases normal attack damage by 12, 24, and 40%. This character will obtain 1 stack of Thundering emblem in each of the following scenarios. Normal attacks deal damage, stack lasts 5 seconds. Casting elemental skills, stack lasts 10 seconds, and energy is less than 100%. Stack disappears when energy is full. Each stack duration is calculated independently. So once you get your burst, you're gonna have to like burst right away just to get rid of it. And just so that way you can constantly get that attack percentage. But yeah, I say that Thundering Pulse is her best weapon. Now, of course, you could do stuff like Skyward Harp, which increases crit damage by 20% hits, have a 60% chance to inflict a small AoE, dealing 125% physical attack damage, can only occur once every 4 seconds. So not only are you getting the crit rate value from Skyward Harp, you're getting a crit damage value on top of that. If you want a 4-star weapon, the one that I was using before I got Thundering Pulse is actually Rust, which gives you a 41.3% attack, which is what Yoimiya will stack with. So it does make sense. It increases normal attack damage by 80%, but decreases charge attack damage by 10%, which is no biggie because with your Yoimiya, you're not worried about your charge attack, even though her charge attack is kind of cool. And then there's also the Hayayuma. I don't think I really have that, but I did have that in my notes. So if you do have the Hayayuma, that's another one that you could actually use. I haven't seen any other weapons like lately that have worked really well with her. I haven't tried the Scion of the Blazing Sun, which looks like it could be good, but not as good as probably the 4 stars that we've already gotten. So I would definitely say if you're gonna rock a 4-star, the Rust is her best call. Now let's go ahead and talk about artifact sets. First things first, I love the fact that we have this now with Genshin, because this makes guides a little bit better. 4-piece Shimenawa's is her best set, in my personal opinion. There might be some people who argue about Echoes of the Offering, but I don't entirely agree with that. So first things first, Shimenawa's attack plus 18% on the 2-piece and the 4-piece. When casting an elemental skill, if the character has 15 or more energy, they lose 15 energy, and normal charge and plunging attack damage is increased by 50% for 10 seconds. Again, this is great because of the fact that, again, your Yoimiya is not really needing to burst. That's not her calling, and this works out perfectly for her. There is Echoes of the Offering though, and people like the set. Attack plus 18%, so just like Shimenawa's on the 2-piece, but the 4-piece, when normal attacks hit opponents, there is a 36% chance that it will trigger Valley Right, which will increase normal attack damage by 70% of attack, and the effect will be dispelled 0.05 seconds after a normal attack deals damage. If the normal attack fails to trigger Valley Right, the odds of it triggering the next time will increase by 20%. So if you fail to trigger it 5 times in a row, somehow you're just that unlucky, you'll be able to trigger it every single time after the 5th hit, which she has a lot of attack speed, I guess, in regards to her like actual normal attack. But I still think that Echoes of the Offering is too much of a gamble, in my personal opinion. You're not guaranteed to be hitting that damage all the time, whereas with Shimenawa's, it gives you that boost. It's going to keep your burst away from you, so in that way you can get more in regards to Thundering Pulse and just everything kind of in between. Now, there is also Crimson Witch of Flames, which is definitely one that people can use, and I've seen people use it and do amazing stuff. 2-piece pyro damage bonus by 15%. And the 4-piece increases overloading, burning, and Bergeron damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using an elemental skill increases the 2-piece set bonus by 50%. And its starting value for 10 seconds, max 3 stacks. That is huge because, again, Yoimiya skill you're going to be using constantly to make sure that you give that pyro damage to your normal attacks anyway. Plus, Overload gets a 40% bonus, which is what we're going to be using for this team. Now, when it comes to actual artifact stats, your main focuses should be crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, elemental mastery. That should be the goals right there. And as you can see, some of these pieces have gone really well. Don't worry about the energy recharge on that one. This one, I'm actually kind of upset at myself because I had this as a piece that nobody was using, and I was using an off-piece attack percentage that wasn't even close to this in crit value. So very happy that I switched that out. So I gained a 20% bonus into crit damage. I did take a hit of 4% crit rate, but I can deal with that. You see my crit rate, I'm at 70%. I'm perfectly fine. Now, of course, as you see with this as well, I did kind of roll good in crit rate, but I also rolled very heavily in energy recharge. So that was kind of a miss. I would have much rather had that in elemental mastery, if anything, personally for me, for what I'm doing. Now, your main stats are as follows. Attack percentage for your sands is the go-to. Your goblet should be pyro damage bonus, and then your crown, depending on if you need more crit rate or crit damage, is what you're gonna go for. Now, I went with crit damage because, again, I already reached that crit rate that I needed. I rolled pretty good overall on my crit rates, and plus I think Yoimiya, if I remember correctly, she levels up on crit rate. Let me double check that. Yes, so she levels up on crit rate and she gets at level 90, 19.2%. So already you're doing fantastic. So there you go. Now, of course, mine's Constellation 0, and let's go ahead and talk about the normal attacks. Now, well, not normal attacks, but just her kit in general. Now, her normal attack is nothing, but her charged attack is something to kind of look into. Performs a more precise aim shot with increased damage. While aiming, flames will accumulate in the arrowhead before being fired off as an attack. Has different effects based on how long the energy has been charged. Charge level 1 fires off a flaming arrow, which is pretty standard for all elemental bow users. Charge level 2 though generates a maximum of 3 kindling arrows based on the time spent. Releasing them as part of an aim shot, kindling arrows will hone in on nearby opponents, dealing pyro damage on hit, which is cool. It's definitely not something that you're going to be focusing on too much. It might be like before you start to engage the like actual enemy, but I digress. Of course, we have the Niwabi Fire Dance. With this, during the time, arrows fired by Yoimiya's normal attacks will be blazing arrows, and their damage will be increased and converted to pyro damage. During this time, normal attack, firework flare-up will not generate kindling arrows at charge level 2. So you don't need to worry about your charge levels, but the main thing that you want to focus on is that your blazing arrow damage, which is just your normal attacks after using your skill, will be increased by 158.8% at level 9, which I'm at right now. Now, we could talk about the burst, but the burst is not going to be that important in my personal opinion. This is the Ryukin Saxifrage? Yeah. Yoimiya leaps into the air along with her original creation, the Ryukin Saxifrage, and fires forth blazing rockets bursting with surprises that deal AoE pyro damage, and mark 1 of the hit opponents with Aurora's Blaze. All normal charge and plunging attacks, elemental skills, and elemental bursts by any party member other than Yoimiya that hit an opponent marked by Aurora's Blaze will trigger an explosion, dealing AoE pyro damage, and when an opponent affected by Aurora's Blaze is defeated before its duration expires, the effect will pass on to another nearby opponent who will inherit the remaining duration. One Aurora's Blaze explosion can be triggered every 2 seconds. When Yoimiya is down, Aurora's Blaze effects created through her skills will be deactivated. Now, again, it sounds good, but honestly, the burst is not something that you want to focus on. But let's go ahead and talk about our first Ascension passive. During Niwabi Fire Dance, shots from Yoimiya's normal attack will increase her pyro damage bonus by 2% on hit. This effect lasts for 3 seconds and can have a maximum of 10 stacks, so you can have a maximum of 20%. Gosh darn it, I always do that. Summer Night's Dawn, the second Ascension talent, using Ryukin Saxifrage, causes nearby party members, not including Yoimiya, to gain a 10% attack bonus increased for 15 seconds. Additionally, a further attack bonus will be added on base to the number of tricks of the Troublemaker stacks Yoimiya possesses using the Ryukin Saxifrage. Each stack increases the attack bonus by 1%. Again, it's going off of the burst, and I feel like it's not really going to do too much, but that's just me. Other people might have a little bit of a better opinion on it, but that's just me. Now, as you can see, I'm running an overload team because I want to showcase CHEVREUSE, but I also wanted to put Raiden Shogun in here because Raiden Shogun's E is going to correlate with Yoimiya's actual like normal attacks, which is going to help. Plus, I have Kujosara to give us a 69, funny number, attack bonus because of her skill. So we're gonna go in, we're actually gonna burst because it'll activate the skill automatically, go into CHEVREUSE, start stacking up, and then go into Yoimiya to show off the attacks. So this again is Masanori. I always use Masanori to kind of show it off, but yes. All right, so we're gonna go into that, get that going. Now we got that, and then activate E. Now my Yoimiya, as you can see, just did 30k, and just off of these alone is just going insane. Now that we have the burst, I'm using that just to get rid of it, and we're gonna have to go back, get another attack bonus. There we go. We're back in it, and look at that. It's just beautiful. You just see Yoimiya just kind of melt the opponent from there, and it gives you a DPS that uses normal attacks instead, infusing her with pyro damage. Now, of course, you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 hits of your normal attack, which works really, really well. Now, again, in this sequence, if you were to use Echoes of the Offering, you would be able to at least like possibly get an attack bonus off of that, but it's not going to be something that's going to be consistent, and that's why I feel Shimenawa's is a lot better. Overall, I feel Yoimiya is very slept on. I feel Yoimiya is one of the better DPSs out there, but just because there's a lot of good ones like Neuvillette now that just out damage her. But she is a lot of fun in my personal opinion because she is a bow user that you're going to normal attack with, and she gets my seal of approval of being a great DPS option. And that's going to be it for today's video, y'all. If you like the content, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to entertain you. We'll be back again very soon with another Genshin Impact video. And of course, as always, we will see you very, very soon. Take care, y'all. Be safe.